This conference will now be recorded.
You know, it's not been easy having these Zoom COVID and all that. So when the vaccination comes out, I hope you all take it so we can come back and meet in a regular in-person meeting, because it's not only is roll call difficult, just the discussion and et cetera of the important items that we deal with is even more important relating to getting over the COVID. Next item is invocation. If you bow your head with me, please. Lord in heaven, we thank you for giving us another day. We thank you for allowing us to serve our communities through the Development Council Board of Directors. We wish that you give us wisdom and the courage to make the best decisions for our constituents. And Lord, keep us safe during this time of the pandemic. In your holy name we pray, amen. And now if you join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Okay, the first official action is consideration and action to approve the minutes of the meeting of October 28th, 2020. They've all been sent out to you for your review. Do I have a motion?
So move, Rick Salinas.
Second, Nori Garza.
A motion and second. Are any additions or deletions to these minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye or raise your hands.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. The next item is public comment. Is there any public comment? No. No public comment on the line? Or legislative delegation on the line? Okay, hearing none, we'll go on to item number 4, which is administration. The first is consideration and action to appoint 2 new members at large to the board of directors. As you know, Norma Garcia came off the board, as did Commissioner Zuniga. And so we've had a meeting of the at-large membership. And Manny, can you give us a recommendation, please?
Yes, sir. Yes, the member at large group met yesterday over GoToMeeting and is recommending actually out of the 8 members that we have on the list from the 10, 4 attended the meeting. And so they're recommending, or actually Mr. Eleazar Yogi Garcia Jr. and Mr. Sergio Contreras volunteered and amongst the group, and following by the unanimous acceptance, and this is being recommended to the board of directors today for approval.
Okay, so the motion would be for Eleazar and Sergio Contreras, is that correct?
That's correct.
Unless anybody else had any nominations they would like to bring forward, I'd entertain that motion based on the recommendation.
Chairman, this is Commissioner Garza. I would move that we accept the recommendations put forth by Mr. Cruz, Yogi Garcia, and Sergio Contreras.
City of Raymondville seconds.
I second that. Both good people.
Okay, we have motion and second to approve the recommendation of the board, of the committee for the 2 new members. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Next item is
Aye.
the next item is a special recognition of service, partnership, and advocacy by Dr. Shirley Reed, president of South Texas College. You know, I had the privilege of being her lawyer at South Texas College for the first 9 years, I think, of their existence. And, you know, I've always said this for, I think, certainly for Iowa County and probably certainly for the Rio Grande Valley, the South Texas College has been a game changer for us. And Shirley Reed, somebody who worked literally 24/7 almost for getting that there. So certainly is a well-deserved recognition upon her retirement. Mandy, do you have you want to show people what we're going to give them, or?
Yes, we have a token of our appreciation. So we'd like to thank Dr. Reed for her many years of contribution. She's a supporter and founder of the South Texas College JAG Express. So we wish her the best, and At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Tom for any of the details that he might have as far as her participation and interaction with Valley Metro programs and the LRGVDC. Tom?
Thank you, Manuel. Thank you, Mr. President. In the summer of 2013, we started a pilot project with Dr. Reed and STC staff to promote registration for the college. That service since grew to a multi-campus system with, at peak times, we have 10 buses running, connecting the 5 campuses in both Hidalgo County and Stark County. We have heard so many testimonials from students and the general public saying that because of this service, they were able to obtain a college diploma. So we're very pleased with Dr. Reed's leadership and support for Jack Express. And we want to issue this token of appreciation and give her the designation of a true champion of transit, regional transit. We're very pleased with her support. So we want to wish her well on her new endeavors.
Right.
Thank
And
you.
if you haven't noticed, the trophy is almost as tall as I am, so that would certainly go on her. So I think maybe if we had a motion from the board extending our deep appreciation for all that Dr. Reed did in the presentation of the cup. I have a motion to that effect.
Alina, if you can please give her the
So moved.
thank you.
Mayor Charlie.
I have a motion.
Hi.
Motion and second, and we'll put a nice letter together when we present it to her from the board. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay,
Aye.
opposed? Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Aye.
And we do have Ms. Alina Cantu to accept. You want to say a few words, Ms. Cantu?
Yes, I would. Thank you all very much. Thank you for this kind sentiment. I would like to thank the Lower Rio Grande Valley Development Council for taking the time and the thoughtfulness in recognizing Dr. Reed's contributions over the years. And I'm honored to represent South Texas College and accept this award on her behalf. As y'all are aware, after incredible 26 years as a founding president of South Texas College, she's announced her retirement. South Texas College is a public institution of higher education that provides educational opportunities through excellence in teaching and learning, workforce development, cultural enrichment, community service, and regional and global collaborations. On your side, the LRGVDC promotes and encourages cooperation among local units of government in order to improve the region's health, safety, and general welfare, and to plan for future development. As you can see, the LRGVDC and South Texas College are both working diligently to make the Rio Grande Valley a growing and thriving community. So we are very grateful for this long-lasting and successful partnership. And although, Dr. Reed is retiring from South Texas College, we hope and look forward to continuing this successful partnership with you all. I would like to thank Valley Metro Transit for their efforts and guidance in working to provide transportation through the Jag Express to our STC community, and especially for their continued efforts to make transportation available, especially this year. Although Dr. Reed is not able to be present, I'd like to share with y'all a few sentiments that she shared with our faculty and staff when she announced her retirement to us. South Texas College was founded to address profound needs in our communities. High unemployment and low educational attainment contributed to generational poverty for many families throughout the valley. Over nearly 3 decades, we have disrupted poverty through workforce and academic programs. We have helped thousands of families break cycles of poverty. Our economic development partnerships have supported robust expansion in the valley. And as you know, Dr. Reed is one to tirelessly work for our community. So the last sentiments of this notice to staff was, there is more work to do and we have more families to serve. So go forward and make the world a better place. And I think all of you can share in your positions within your cities and counties, and your goal is with the Lower Rio Grande Development Council is to make the world a better place and to help the Rio Grande Valley grow. But once again, on behalf of Dr. Reed, thank you very much for recognizing her with this award.
Well, thank you for that presentation, and certainly convey our best wishes to Dr. Reed for her in her retirement, and the thanks for all the years she put in helping our kids get a better education. Okay, item C is consideration and action on a date and time for the annual work program and budget committee meeting. You should have that on your screen for the recommendation, which I can't read.
Yes, I'd like to add on that, on this item, Mr. President. As you're aware, this is an annual meeting and the committee is comprised of all the board members and there's no quorum requirement. This year, the committee will be presented with the draft annual work program and along with the budget for review, suggesting scheduling the meeting around Wednesday, January 13th or Thursday, January 14th. The time, we'll leave that up to you. And this is just this lag time will allow us plenty of time to put everything together and present it before the board of directors at their Wednesday, January 27th meeting.
Okay, any preference for the date? Since January 14th is my birthday, we could have it on that day and I'll bring cake. Virtually. Any suggestions?
That date's fine for me. Good date.
January 14th, we don't have any objections. We'll be meeting on January 14th. And of course, that's voluntary, but we'd like you all to attend if possible for presentation of the budget to the, and the time will be, why don't we do the same time, at noon, if that's okay with everybody. Going once, going twice, January 14th at 12 o'clock. And that's gonna be virtual, right? That'll be virtual and we'll pass out the information prior to the meeting. So everybody will at least have it. Okay, thank you.
Mayor Darling, it says action. Do we need to make a motion on those dates?
I don't think so. I think we could designate as a chair.
Okay.
Not official action that's reflected there. Okay, next item is presentation of the LRGV flood study. And we have Shonda Mace from the General GLO here to make that presentation. There she is up there.
Good afternoon, everyone. First off, can I please become a presenter so I can share my screen? Oh, great. If y'all have it, that's even better. Wonderful. Okay, so thank you for the wonderful introduction. My name is Shonda Mace. I'm with the Texas General Land Office Community Development and Revitalization Program. Also joining us today is my director, Dr. Colleen Jones, and also Sarah Douglas, who handles, she works with us in the planning department in intergovernmental relations. So to get started, next slide, please. George P. Bush is our commissioner, and this is a wonderful quote from him that the Texas GLO CDR, we work to rebuild communities, to put Texans back in their homes, and to help businesses recover after the trauma of a disaster. Next slide, please. Just a high-level overview of what we do in the planning team in CDR. We do have a mission statement that we design and oversee planning studies to collect, analyze, and communicate disaster-related data to assist decision makers to better protect Texans from future disasters. Oh, excuse me 1 second. Looks like I've been made a presenter, so I will go ahead and share my screen, and hopefully y'all can all see this okay. Let's go back to where we were. Okay, here we go. So what do decision makers need to make good decisions? We need good data, and that includes evaluation of actual risk. Data must be accurate and reliable, support of cost-effective mitigation strategies, and to determine funding sources for future projects. So I'm going to briefly touch upon actually 3 different studies today. The first is going to be the LRGV flood study. This study mirrors the regional flood studies that we are currently doing for Hurricane Harvey impacted counties. However, of course, this is going to be in the valley. The study area includes Starr, Hidalgo, Willacy, and Cameron counties, and will be funded with both 2015 flood money and mitigation money for a total cost of $10 million. And the reason that it's focusing on these counties is that our funds do come from HUD, They are federal disaster funds, and so we are limited to spending these funds in the eligible counties as determined by HUD. So the study will evaluate mitigation and abatement strategies to reduce disaster impacts and increase community resiliency. So the RFP has been posted and has closed, and a vendor has been selected. However, we are still in the contracting phase, and so we cannot yet make that selection public. It is anticipated and hoped that the study will begin soon after the first of the year. And also, just to briefly mention, we are aware of TWDB's efforts, and we do participate in the regional flood group, and we are working very closely with them to ensure that we don't duplicate efforts. Next is a proposed study. It's a walkability transportation study, and the purpose as proposed.
Shonda, before you
Yes.
continue, on that previous slide, what is the timeline for that study to be completed in?
So the one for Hurricane Harvey is a 4-year timeline, and that is a solid timeline. Now, the fact that we're going to be using mitigation funding, we do have a little bit of a longer period of time. However, we are trying to, once this study gets started, we are trying to keep this study as much in line with the other ongoing studies. And so, of course, it's going to be starting a little bit later. The other studies have kicked off. This year they kicked off. And so it just depends. I would say 4 to 6 years. That's a little bit, like I said, we have a little bit of leeway there, but plan for 4 to 6 years for these. Okay. Walkability transportation study. This was proposed by the City of Mission mayor, and the purpose was to study how Mission's population located in the low tide section of downtown can walk to shelters during a high rainfall event. So basically the research question is, how do we make people safe during the short term when a flash flood hits? But of course, the proposed study could be expanded to surrounding cities such as McAllen and other surrounding areas, and could serve as a model for smaller towns in the valley to adopt. So basically, the idea for this study would be to establish an evacuation route and determine the next steps for creation of that route, so that first responders during an emergency event can focus on other issues. Included in the study would be how to effectively move people also from the new international bridge that will be constructed to a safe haven. So this study first came about. We recently had a planning study survey for study needs for mitigation funding, and this was one of the proposed studies. This study will be funded, assuming that we move forward, with planning funds from 2019 floods, and that flood money only covers Cameron, Hidalgo, and Willacy counties, and so therefore the study would have to be restricted to those areas. Again, this is just in the very early stages. We're working on a scope. We don't have that ready yet. We don't even have, honestly, the 2019 money yet. We just know, we know what the allocation is, and we know how much we're going to get for planning funds, which is why we're going ahead and trying to plan out future studies. So as soon as that money comes, we will be ready to go. So I don't have any more details on that yet, but please know that that is something that is on the horizon. Similarly, we also are working very closely with LRGV for development of a scope of an economic development study. Like the proposed transportation study, this study would also be funded with 2019 flood funds. Therefore, the same 3 counties, Cameron, Hidalgo, and Willacy, will be covered. There is a very similar study that's currently ongoing, again, utilizing Harvey funds. That is in the county areas surrounding Aransas County. And so basically we're starting with that scope so we don't have to reinvent the wheel, working with LRGV to look at that scope and specifically develop it for the needs of the valley. Here are some objectives from that other study that we would like to cover. Again, we are aware of the other efforts that are ongoing and will soon be ongoing. We want to make sure that we do not duplicate any efforts. So that's all I have for today. Here's my contact information. If anybody has any questions, always happy to answer any questions. And with that, Dr. Jones, would you like to chime in with anything?
Thank you, Shonda. You did a great job presenting. I just, we're looking forward to engaging on all these endeavors with the Valley. Really hoping, that our vendor is named by the first of the year, and a comprehensive flood study that combines all the existing data, updates all the modeling. We're partnering with that study with USACE, with Texas Water Development Board, and we have some other partners that ultimately what we're trying to do is get the best data possible so that we can help your community apply for grants for future mitigation. So really excited how it's kicking off in the Hurricane Harvey impacted areas, and excited to get it started down in the Valley. Thank you.
Okay, does anyone have any questions or comments? Okay, well, hearing none, Shonda, thank you very much for the report. We look forward to hearing from you. I did have one comment. I know we did it was about a $3 million study after Dolly, and some things have changed since then, but hopefully that when doing new studies, we look at past studies so we don't duplicate effort or enhance the present study.
Absolutely.
Correct. That'll be the first phase. Is you will be one of our stakeholders, all of you, and we will be looking at past studies and integrating that before we start collecting new data.
Great. Okay, thank you. Yes.
Darlene, this is Nori Garza with Mission. Do you think we could have an update at our January meeting? Hopefully you'll have a vendor picked out, and that would be a good start, I guess.
Absolutely. As soon as the vendor is public, we would like the opportunity to and get situated. It might not be the beginning of January, but we would like to reach out and have that vendor both present at a meeting such as this, as well as the regional flood planning group meetings with TWDB.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments or questions?
And Commissioner, we'll be in close contact with GLO. My staff will at the Community and Economic Development Department, and we'll keep up with this progress, and we'll contact them and place them on the agenda when the time comes.
Okay,
thank you.
And thank you, Shonda, very much. Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item, I know that you've been anxiously awaiting, is the Executive Director Report, Mr. Manny Cruz. Manny?
All right, so since we don't have a RGVMPO meeting after this one, we're going to be here a while.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Okay, so first and foremost, thank you so much for taking the time to be present at this Board of Directors meeting. And so first, I want to introduce the new staff members. Since last meeting, we have brought on board Mr. Andres Maldonado. He's going to be he was hired as an instructor 1 for our regional police academy. Mr. Maldonado comes with overwhelming experience. He was previously with DPS and police chief here in the region. And so we're looking forward for him to continue to lead our cadets as we go through the police academy courses. And so we want to welcome him aboard. The next is a promotion. Mr. Armando Perez, he has been promoted to Assistant Director of Business Operation, our procurement side of the house. Again, he does have experience, and he's going to be leading the charge with our procurement efforts. And it's a tall order, but I think he can manage and accommodate all our departments. The next one would be number 2. Item number 2 would be the 2021 board meeting calendar schedule. The 2021 meeting calendar follows the same schedule as the 2020 calendar. Board meetings will be scheduled on the last Wednesday of the month. No meeting in July or November. And the December meeting will be on the second Wednesday to accommodate the holidays. Also as a time for the meeting, 12 noon. That's another, I guess, recommendation would be to follow this same schedule. And if the board members had any changes to the meeting time, this year we've been meeting at noon. But if you all have any other suggestions or would like to keep it on the same time, I'll open the floor for that.
Everybody likes noon? You get to go eat at the wonderful restaurants in Westico, right, Mayor? Okay, and by the way, my computer went down, battery ran out, so you don't see me. I didn't leave, I'm still here. Okay, then we'll stay with noon.
Okay, thank you. The next item is just an update on the RGV Flood Planning Group, Region 15. The first meeting was held back in November 5th. And fortunately, the hosting agency that was selected was the Hidalgo County Drainage District number 1. So congratulations to the Drainage District of Hidalgo County. And as you know, the regional flood planning process will be developed, was developed, and initial regional flood planning group is basically Region 15 was the last group to be formed within the state of Texas. And so the first regional flood plan will be due in January 2023, and the first state flood plan will be due September 1st, 2024. We did have, for those that might not know, the coverage area. This includes the entire Rio Grande Valley up into Kennedy County and all the way west across to Zapata, and north onto Webb, Dimmitt, Maverick, Kenny, Valverde, and Edwards up into the Del Rio area. And again, the folks that submitted a bid to be the host, to be considered for the host, was Hidalgo County Drainage District 1, LRGVDC, Cameron County, and agency from Corpus Christi area. And again, fortunately, Hidalgo County Drainage District is going to be hosting this committee. And so congratulations on that. Yes.
Yeah, I think Commissioner Garza and Commissioner Fuentes are actually board members to drainage area number 15. Is that, I hope I haven't left anybody out, but appreciate their serving on that, and we'll have great representation for the Valley with their representations. Okay.
Next item, really quickly, under TARC updates. Just wanted to brief you on the Texas Association of Regional Councils, which is up in Austin. Again, there are our liaisons between us and the legislature to tackle on any issues or projects, programs that we want to venture into. And some of the topics that were recently covered, we do have monthly conference calls, ED conference calls with all the COGS in TARC. And one of the item of importance is related to Health and Human Services, the AAA. Due to the current increase in COVID-19 cases, the state long-term care ombudsman office plans to move forward with implementing a temporary policy of required routine COVID-19 testing for ombudsmen. The state has shared the following policy highlights with TARC and the COGS for review. For example, testing would be required every 14 days. Testing is work-related, so mileage, any time associated with that, out-of-pocket expenses will be reimbursed. There's going to be a tracking form to maintain the documentation. Of course, the form will not collect results, but will collect the names of the ombudsman, the date, and the type of testing. There will be an exception purpose. Again, this is not a requirement for those that decline to have have the COVID testing. They will be required to wear the PPE, personal protective equipment, for all visits, and that can include anything involving the N95 respirator, face shield, goggles, gowns, and gloves. And then moving on to the 87 legislation session, that's on schedule to meet. I guess the regularly scheduled session is at noon on the second Tuesday of January 2021. And again, like I mentioned previously, access to the Capitol is very limited, will be very limited, yet to be determined how so. And hearings might be prioritized and not all will be heard. There will be there's no substitution for public comment. However, protocols need to be in place and will be developed and implemented due to the COVID-19 situation. The next item that I have for you is on Commission on State Emergency Communication, CSEC, that involves the State 911 program. On November 11th, CSAC presented their new upcoming budget to the Governor's Office of Budget Planning and Policy Legislative Budget Board. The driving factors on their presentation was related to rapid changes to the way the public adapts and utilizes new communication technology, wireless calls as a percentage of 911 calls, and just as the additional information, for example, the 911 calls increased from 33% in FY 2001 to 92% in FY 2019. And your wireless calls are obviously related to your cell phones and such. Photos, videos, and other data cannot be sent over current 911 systems, and technology improvement currently is underway to allow for better utilization and enhancement response. Next generation 911 digital replacement is currently underway, and is target completion date for the entire state of Texas. They're looking at FY 2023. The LRGVDC is set to their target date of completion is February or March of 2021, so just around the corner. And again, we're switching from the old legacy system to the new digital system, 911 system. Basically, the bottom line is their total request will be or was a little bit over $106 million to accommodate the 911 program under CSAC. And so us as the LRGVDC, as you know, we're attempting to get our district designation. And so with Parks Assistance, we made contact with CSAC to express the region stakeholders' interest in establishing a district designation. Moving forward, we will be in close communication and collaboration in order to accomplish a smooth transition and alleviate any interruptions in emergency 911 service. If I can, provide you with the future goals, our goals as a emergency communication district for 911 is information and cybersecurity risks. Risks increase with adoption of new technology, so therefore strict requirements and best practices must be followed to maintain moving forward. Continuity of operations, enhance ability to provide emergency communication services in alternate or multiple locations to better respond to disasters, any type of disasters, by leveraging digital emergency communication technology to include a possible mobile capabilities. And fee structure and future and funding for the future. That's another topic of concern that CSAC is currently addressing or will be addressing. And so with that current structure based on legacy technology, which was adopted back in 1980. And as you know, the COG 911 programs, they only take on the 50-cent charge that is collected from all the landlines and wireless. And so moving forward, once we become a district and our target date is set for August. That's the last day or the last month of this biennium with CSAC. And so at that point in time, we will join the ranks of the 911 coalition, which is made up of, the 22, 23 emergency communications district, and spearheading the funding aspects as far as a possible increase in the collection of 911 fees from 50 cents up to whatever the majority of the coalition and even CSAC will decide. The next topic is going to be on RGV B cycle. For this item, just as a note, this project has been going on for a while, and so basically at this point in time, all docking stations in Brownsville and Harlingen have been installed and tested. Terminals updates pending, 9 in total, 5 in Brownsville, and you see on your screen, you'll see the different sites that are located in Brownsville. 4 in Harlingen, those are the sites in Brownsville that were just installed within the past couple of months. And the sites in Harlingen, you'll see on your screen as well. And all have Wi-Fi connection. All PCs within the docking stations have been pulled and sent to B-Cycle headquarters for re-imaging. Possible re-imaging for McAllen as well. As you recall, this project includes Brownsville, Harlingen, and McAllen. Currently researching for options for replacement tubes due to a nationwide shortage. With the pandemic, as you all know, everybody decided to go out in nature, explore nature, and ride bicycles and so forth. So even though the docking stations have been installed, right now we're trying to build up the bicycles, and with the tube or tire shortages, it's been a slow process. And lastly, just as an FYI to everybody on the board, the Texas Division of Emergency Management, if you have not heard, at the beginning of December, TDM sent out an email to all the emergency management coordinators on frequently asked questions on documents related to COVID-19 vaccine distribution. Subsequently, on December 3rd, a Zoom meeting was held to provide a COVID-19 vaccine update. And so future Zoom meetings, conference calls will be scheduled, and they'll be coordinating through your emergency management coordinators. So for any questions, I will be sending out the frequently asked question document after this meeting. And if for any future questions, feel free to reach out to your emergency management coordinators for more details yet to come when it relates to COVID-19 vaccination. And that concludes my progress report. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to item 5, which is community and economic development. Mr. Canetta, you have some announcements here?
Just a few. Good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the board. Thank you for joining us today. Rick Carrero, Director of Community Economic Development. Just a few things. There are no action items from us this meeting. Want to announce just a few things coming up. This dovetails on what Ms. Mays presented just a little while ago. We are having a meeting this afternoon at 2 p.m. that will discuss the economic development study that GLO is trying to pursue in the area. That is a go-to meeting. I believe the meeting address is in the packet. We've invited all the local area EDCs and chambers of commerce, and of course anybody here present is more than welcome to attend, provide the input that they're looking for. Second of all, and this dovetails in some of the stuff we discussed about water a minute ago, the next Regional Water Resource Advisory Committee, the RURAC as it's called. It's kind of a strange acronym there, but that meeting is tomorrow at 10 o'clock at 11 a.m. I believe the GLO will be doing a presentation there on the flood study as well. Once again, anybody here is more than welcome to attend. and we encourage the attendants to get as much input as possible. And of course, Region M, that meeting is scheduled for January 6th. Decided to go ahead and announce that now because by the time we have our next board meeting, that meeting will have come and gone. Just wanted to cover those three things. And in addition to a couple of items that staff have done in terms of promoting EDA programs and grants, by all means, we're always available to answer any questions concerning EDA, Texas Department of Ag, and related grant programs, grant funding. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any comments or questions relating to Mr. Carrera's report or the community and economic development programs? Okay, hearing none. The next item is Health and Human Services. Mr. Gonzalez, we do have one action item.
Yes, sir. The Health and Human Services Department, we only have one action item, and this is the consideration and action to provide funding to the Mission Housing Authority and WellMed Medical Foundation. Both organizations submitted applications requesting funding support. And so the Advisory Council is recommending funding the Mission Housing Authority for senior center operations and transportation in the amount of $35,624, and for the WellMed Medical Foundation to initiate and start a social reassurance services. And what they're going to be doing here is having a volunteer person that's going to be recruiting volunteers to contact seniors that are isolated on the social isolation. And so this is a good program. The recommendation for WellMed is $42,173, and this funding is actually for a 10-month period.
I'll move to approve the funding as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second, Mayor George Rivera.
Yeah, I had a question before you vote on it, Mr. Gonzalez. You know, we talked about with the COVID more than ever, we've had isolated seniors that really have no outside contact. What would the WellMed Medical Foundation, what's that program entail?
What they're going to be doing is recruiting volunteers so that those volunteers can contact the seniors that are isolated. They have 2 senior centers, and they're going to be coordinating with a senior center in McAllen, senior center in Harlingen, and they also have one in Brownsville. But they can recruit volunteers from any community so that those volunteers can contact the seniors.
This would like augment the present senior companionship program?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Any other questions from Mr. Gonzalez on the program status? Okay, hearing none, we move to public safety, which we always have action items on every meeting. And so, Mr. Snyder, would you take us through those actions?
Absolutely. Good afternoon. And hey, we didn't have any action items last month, but we do have 3 this month. So all 3 of the action items come from Homeland Security and Criminal Justice. The 2 of the action items are just simple updates to the policy, procedures, and bylaws that are going to deal with the funding cycle and the selection criteria of how grants are going to be awarded. The second action item is actually consideration action to approve Homeland Security Advisory Committee's recommendation for the reallocation of block grant funding from 2019, which these are grants that these grants are already closed and these funds are left over from 2019, but they are going to, or we're requesting to reallocate them to the City of FAR Hazardous Material Response Team and Brownsville Fire Department Dive Team in the amount of $61,823.
Okay, and those were in your full packet.
Yes, sir.
Do we have any questions or comments? Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve, and we'll do them all at once, C1, 2, and 3.
I'll move to
Commissioner
approve
Garza,
the action items as presented in C1, 2, and 3.
Mayor
Rick
Montoya,
Salinas,
second.
I second it. Celeste Sanchez.
Okay, Commissioner Garza, did you have a question or? No?
No, sir, I'm okay.
Okay, then we have a motion and second to approve items C, 1, 2, and 3. All those in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed, same
Aye.
sign. Motion carried. Thank you. And any questions about program status reports? You kind of gave that report on that. Okay, hearing none, we'll go on to transportation. Tom, we have one action item.
Yes, Mr. President, consideration and action to approve Valley Metro's maintenance program revisions. The revision is due to a new vehicle type that we included in our fleet. So we need to include that on that maintenance plan.
Yep, you sent us the whole maintenance program. Next time, maybe if you give us like a short memo saying exactly what the change was, that would help. I tried to look through it and I couldn't find it.
Will do, sir. Yes.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions or comments relating to that change to our maintenance program? Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve the Valley Metro Maintenance Program revisions.
So moved, Mayor George Rivera.
Second.
Nori Garza, Mission.
Okay, we got a motion in 2 seconds. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, opposed? Aye. Motion carried. Does anybody have any questions on the program status reports for Valley Metro relating ridership, COVID-19, and Regional Transportation Advisory Panel? And by the way, Rio Grande Valley MPO will meet tomorrow, right after the RECLA meeting. Okay, no reports. Then we'll go to new and unfinished business. Any new and unfinished business? You got one? Okay, what's yours?
Okay, just wanted to, before we leave or go or disconnect, just wanted to give you a status update on the LRGVDC in general staff, especially with the past and ongoing situation with COVID-19. Staff has fared very well throughout this disaster. We still are following the county orders, and so tremendous help, and I'd like to thank staff, especially our public safety, our transportation, and our area agency on aging, which catered to the majority of their interactions is catering to the public, and then even with that, we've all fared very well throughout this COVID-19 situation. So a special thanks to staff. I know that the year's not over yet. We still have a couple of days to go, but we're gonna still continue to use the same procedures that we've been using throughout this whole process. Social distancing, wearing our masks, and having obviously a variety of programs, meetings, virtual meetings, such as the one we're having here. And so again, thank you, and especially I'd like to thank the LRGVDC Board of Directors for your tremendous support and your leadership throughout this whole process. And I took over in June, and it's been a blessing. It's been a ride. It's been great to be here representing you and doing your work. So I thank you very much for your support and leadership.
And I might point out one other thing. I don't think it'll happen between now and the next meeting, which is January 27th, 2021, by the way. But our health departments, we're concerned about the elderly getting vaccinated because of their isolation. It's going to be very difficult to do that. So I would encourage you all to meet with your health departments and come up with a plan before the vaccinations get distributed so that we're ready to make that possible for the most vulnerable of our people. Anybody else have any comments or questions? Hearing none, we still have 5 minutes, so I can do some jokes or we can adjourn. Okay.
This is Rick Salinas, Commissioner Lifer. Merry Christmas to all.
Merry Christmas. That's right. Thank you, Commissioner. Merry Christmas and have a safe holiday. Thank you very
Move
much.
to adjourn.
Merry Christmas.
Second. We'll stand adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Stay safe.
Okay. Oh, that's Christmas tree. That's nice. Is that here? Where?